And it usually tells the customer what sets you apart from your competition, right? Whether it's your customer service, whether it's you have the best price around, or whether it's you're just more efficient and more fast on that solution, right? So figure out your offer, figure out your unique selling proposition, and then just market the hell out of that. And obviously, as time goes by, you'll see numbers go up. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Ricardo, and this is the journey from 0 to a million and beyond, where I take my experiences, my life lessons, and the mistakes I make along the way, share them with you guys so you don't make the same mistakes as me. And today, we're gonna be diving into different types of business models, how they work, what a business model actually is, because I know once you step into this entrepreneurship journey, to this business owner environment, you really start to hear some keywords being thrown around by different influencers, by different gurus. And one of those keywords is always like, what is your business model? You have to make sure that your business model is profitable, blah, 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 blah. And like, you know, going into it, like, what does this actually mean? What is an actual business model? Because people's perception of what a business model is that it's just how your business makes money. And while that is a part of a business model, it's not the actual whole definition of a business model. So before we actually get into different examples of business models, let's actually define what a business model even is. So let's get right into it. And a business model, you can actually break it down into 3 different things: creating, delivering, and capturing value. So first things first, do not get confused with what a business model is versus what a revenue model is. A revenue model is essentially how your business makes money, right? How it stays afloat. Like I've said before, cash is king. Cash is the oxygen for your business. Without cash, you have no business. You can't sustain it for very long without cash. So a revenue model is how you actually make money, how you produce the money. Now, what I mean by creating is that you essentially figure out and solve a problem that someone has, right? Like, this is business 101. A customer has a problem, you know how to fix it, so then you charge for it, right? So creating is figuring out what problem you're going to solve and figuring out how you're going to solve it. Now, delivery is essentially just everything that goes into actually delivering your solution to the customer, right? AKA, you know, marketing your solution, having a product or service development process, you know, fulfillment, all of these little processes that actually get your product or service to the customer. That's what the delivery is. So really refining that, because that's where all of your costs are going to come from. So the more you refine it, the more your cost gets lowered, the more money you're eventually going to make. And by capturing value, just essentially means figuring out a price that people are willing to pay. So obviously you can't overprice yourself, because then people are not going to buy from you, right? People are going to think that you're too expensive, right? The value you provide largely has to outweigh the cost of your service, right? So let's just say, for example, you're cleaning someone's home, right? And you clean it for like $100, whatever. Your work has to justify those $100, and the perceived value of that work actually has to be greater than that price, right? And honestly, the way you kind of go about this is you'll get customer feedback, right? You'll get expressions, you'll get different reactions from your price, and you really just have to monitor this as you go. And starting out, you know, just try it out. Obviously, the best way to figure out what your price is by figuring out your cost, and then, you know, just doing the math. You'll eventually find your break-even point. Whatever your industry's margin is what you would go up from, right? So then just do that. You'll figure out your price, and then obviously as you go forward, you'll refine it even more. But it just takes a lot of testing. And the more you test, the more you'll get closer to the actual price that people will think it's fair against the value that you're giving them. So again, creating, delivering, and capturing value. That's what a business model is. Now, apart from the definition of what a business model is, we also have to focus on the 4 main areas of what actually makes a business, right? The more we understand these basic foundational things, the better you will run your own business, and you will go in less blind and more focused on your actual end goal. So the 4 key areas are offer, customer, infrastructure, financial viability. Now, your offer is essentially what you're selling, right? Also known as your value proposition. And this just essentially proves that your solution actually works, and it usually tells the customer what sets you apart from your competition, right? Whether it's your customer service, whether it's you have the best price around, or whether it's you're just more efficient and more fast on that solution, right? So figure out your offer, figure out your unique selling proposition, and then just market the hell out of that. And obviously, as time goes by, you'll see numbers go up. Hey guys, welcome back. My name is Ricardo, and this is the journey from 0 to a million and beyond, where I take my experiences, my life lessons, and the mistakes I make along the way, share them with you guys so you don't make the same mistakes as me. And today, we're gonna be diving into different types of business models, how they work, what a business model actually is, and why it's important. as time goes by, you'll see numbers go up. Now, probably the most important segment would be your actual customer, right? Because without your customer, then you have no business, right? So really figuring out what your target demographic is, really figuring out what your target avatar is, will make your marketing efforts more efficient. You won't just be throwing money blindly at the Google machine or the Facebook machine, and you'll see your marketing dollars actually start to multiply as you go. Because if you target a specific type of person and you market them great with a great offer, then you will see that, hey, your customer acquisition cost goes down from like $100 to just 50, because now you know who your avatar is, so you can more directly market to them. And this again leads into the offer that we just talked about, because your offer should be targeted and made specifically for that ideal customer. Without that, then you're just marketing blindly, and then that's the best way to go out of business, because you'll run out of money that way. Now, infrastructures are essentially just your resources, everything that you need in order to make the offer to sell to your ideal customer. Now, this can be anything from your skilled laborers to your suppliers or to your key partners that make your business happen. Also, this is your product and service development process, and this is just part of the cycle, right? So the better this process is, the better your offer will be, the happier your customer will be, the more money you'll make, right? As we go through these 4 key ideas, you'll see that everything just kind of matches up and goes with the flow, goes in a circle. All of this is just a process of what a business is, right? Like, remember, creating, delivering, capturing value, right? Remember, the more efficient this process is, the more efficient your skilled labor are, the better your offer will be, because there will be less cost while keeping the price the same, which will incentivize your customer, which in then turn will make them more happy, which in then will make you more money, right? So all of this is connected, and as you try to make one of these sections more efficient, it will just make the whole process better, and you will make more money in the end. Now, the 4th key area would be your financial viability. Now, this is again your revenue model that we just talked about, and your costs. The main question that you should ask yourself in order to really understand your financial viability would be, is my business profitable? Can I actually make money? Am I just breaking even, or am I actually making a decent profit so that I could grow? And like I said before, on price, find your break-even point, figure out your fixed cost, your variable cost, and then just go from there. And remember, once you figure out your revenue model, once you figure out your break-even point, then you can make an offer to your targeted customer and deliver the solution to their problem to make their lives better, because that's what they're paying you for. Again, business model: creating, delivering, and capturing. This is all it is. It's very simple. So now onto the different business models. Obviously, there's a lot that I won't cover on here, but I'm just gonna go through the main ones that actually have examples of real companies that made it big. So you guys have a basis of how these companies actually make their money, because I was very curious about this as well, so I'll share that with you guys right now. So the first one, and one of the most popular ones these days, are when your product is actually free. When you have a free product or a free something that people sign up, and then you deliver a free product or service that is of value to that person. Now, this is very common amongst, influencers or content creators, people that are making videos like this on YouTube, this is all free, right? But the thing is that whenever something's free, usually that just means that you are actually the product. You, the viewer, you, the person that's consuming that information, is the actual product, right? For example, how does YouTube make their money? They make their money based off of ads, right? Ads. YouTube channels make their money off of sponsors, of their own products. The more people actually view the content, the more they're getting paid from the sponsors, the more they can actually advertise to that audience, right? And because it's free, the amount of volume of people that actually get to access that content is much larger than if it was something paid. Free content, free products, free services, your attention is the cost that you're paying, right? So nothing's ever free, right? There's always something that you're trading, either your time, your attention, or your money. Now, moving on, the freemium model is also very popular. This is more amongst subscriptions. Spotify is a great example, right? Because you have a free model, and obviously there's ads and different things in that, but it's free, right? You get to listen to songs for free, but there's ads in the middle, and that kind of annoys you. So a freemium model essentially just means that you get the service for free, but you have to pay for an upgrade. And that upgrade usually means that they take out that thing that is annoying you. For in this case would be ads with Spotify. And remember, the higher the level of annoyance and inconvenience a free service gives you, the more likely you are to actually switch to that premium subscription that gets rid of that annoyance and that inconvenience, right? Because at the end of the day, we're humans and we just want the simplest thing possible with the least amount of inconvenience, right? So if we can shell out, $10 a month to get rid of ads, why wouldn't we, right? I mean, it saves time. So that level of annoyance justifies that $10. Again, the value the customer is getting largely outweighs the price they're paying for it. That's why this model works. That's why Spotify is a $1 billion company. That's why it works. Their value largely outweighs the price that they're charging. So the next one we have is price based on average value to customer. This is usually pretty popular in the insurance space. It just essentially means that the younger demographic will pay a more premium price than the older demographic just because, you know, experience and all of this junk that they give you. But that premium price that the younger demographic pays is what complements the older generation's cheaper price, right? Because, you know, maybe they're losing money in a way with these older people at the price of paying, you know, 150, 200 bucks, while the younger demographics paying 300 to 400. But the price is justified because that younger person doesn't have as much experience driving, doesn't have as much experience in life overall, so they're a higher risk. That older person is not a higher risk because they have a history of maybe no accidents, no this, no that, no tickets. And so the price that they're paying is justified because of that lower risk, but that lower price is complemented by the higher price of that younger person, which is higher risk. So the value of the customer is based on that average price. And the next one is a pretty traditional one, is price based on product cost plus margins, aka the retail model. Pretty straightforward. Figure out what your cost is for your product. Do 10, 20, 30% margin depending on what kind of brand you have for your retail store, and just go with that and sell. It's pretty straightforward. There's nothing crazy about this. You see this everywhere, you know, when you go to Walmart, when you go to, I don't know, Macy's is still around. I don't think Sears is still around. I don't know. But like usual traditional retail stores, this is how they price out. And obviously after breaking even on that product cost, the margins is what pays for their rent, their employees, their insurance, blah, 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 right? So you have to make sure that your gross margins pay for everything, and then you still have a healthy net margin, which in the retail space is like 5, 7, sometimes 10%. Straightforward retail model. Moving on. Next, we have price with low recurring subscription payments. Again, pretty straightforward. Netflix is probably one of the top at this page, and obviously their business works because they have a lot of volume. And the only difference between Spotify and Netflix is that Netflix no longer has a free plan, right? They have a standard plan, which is like $6.99 a month, and it has ads, right? So how does this get supported? How do they support, you know, being able to produce movies that are millions and millions of dollars in budgeting? They have a large amount of customers. They have a large volume. They focus on volume, and then they deliver their product or service, right? And obviously this works better with more online businesses than real physical businesses because of how cheap it is. And this works because they have really low churn due to, again, the value they're giving largely outweighs the $7, the $14 that you're paying a month. So again, this low subscription model only works if you have a large volume of customers. Next, we got tier-based pricing based on volume, aka the Costco or wholesale business model. Now, if you've ever been to Costco, you know how this works, right? The more things you buy, essentially the cheaper the average item is, right? So if you buy, let's just say like, I don't know, a 24 pack of Gatorade, it comes out to like $2 and something per bottle. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. I don't know the actual numbers, but like $2.50 per bottle. And then if you actually buy the bottles individual, you get like $3 or something, right? So you're saving money overall. And then, you know, you multiply those 50 cents times 24 bottles, you know, obviously you're saving a couple bucks on that. And that's essentially how the business works. And again, this business only really works because they can get their product cheaper because they buy it in bulk. They buy in bulk so much product. They have so much inventory. The only way to actually make money and have good prices is to, you know, buy in bulk and also sell in bulk. This wholesale business only works if your customers are willing to buy in bulk as well. Otherwise, it just won't work. All right, next we have revenue as a percentage of every transaction. Essentially, you can call this a commission-based business model, but you really see this in credit card processors, right? Like, you know, Stripe, Visa, MasterCard, American Express. All of these people take a small percentage of every transaction that you do. Obviously, it's not billed to you, but it's billed to the company that is taking the payment, right? It's like anywhere from like 2 to 3% credit card fees. And obviously, the only way this works is that you have a bunch of people using that card, right? And if you look it up, Visa is worth like $500 billion because every single credit card in the world is freaking Visa. And so they have a large volume of transactions. And you know, if you have millions and millions, potentially billions of transactions happening every year, then taking 2 to 3% out of that, even though it sounds like a small percentage, that's absolutely insane amount of money that just comes in because you've built a system that everybody depends on and has to go through in order to get their everyday products. So it's a brilliant business model, but it is probably one of the hardest to pull off just because the dominance over this market is absolutely insane, right? So good luck trying to get in there. Next, we have low product price, but support is extra. Now, this is mainly found in different types of software, maybe CRMs, customer relations manager. This essentially means that the software has a free version that is available to you, right? But they'll sell the implementation, they'll sell you on getting it set up, they'll help you do this, they'll help you do that, and they'll obviously charge you for that, right? And obviously you can take the long road and try to figure out the software by yourself. But if you can shell out a couple $100 to actually get the right guidance and not mess up, you know, you usually pay for that. And this business model really does work in the lower tier plans because this is just part of a larger plan, a pricing plan that these softwares usually have. And, you know, usually when you start actually paying a recurring payment to these software companies, they'll just include in that support, right? And this business model can just be summarized in give out the secrets, give them out for free, but sell the implementation. And it works every single time. Next, similar to what we just talked about, low entry price with priced features. Again, this is very common among software companies. They'll give you a free plan with limited features and then leave out the key features that you might actually want further down the road in an actual priced plan. And it's pretty straightforward. And obviously not just in software, but in cars as well, right? You might get a brand new car, but in order to have like a different safety feature, maybe you have to pay something monthly. Or if you want a different color, you might have to pay. If you want better wheels, you'll have to pay up front. If you want the sport version and add-on, you'll have to pay a little bit more. And sometimes this might look like having a loss leader, a product that loses you money, but in the back end, they'll sell you on something that actually makes double, triple that amount of money that otherwise is being lost on the leader. So there's different ways to go about this, whether you're doing low price stuff or higher price stuff like cars. But either way, as long as you market it right, as long as you have the right customer, as long as you sell the right solution, you will make money out of this business model. And finally, the last business model, and one that is as old as time itself, is low base price, but making money on disposable. Now, the most common thing that just off the top of my head I can think about is razors, right? So you'll usually buy the actual stick and then you have to replace the razors. The stick is, you know, $10 or whatever. But then you go buy a pack of razors and it's like $20, sometimes $30 depending on the razor. Like absolutely insane. But that's how they make money. And not just on razors, printers company. Usually they don't make their big money, they don't make their big profit margins on the actual printers. Sometimes they even lose money on the printers. But what are they selling you? They're selling the ink. That ink is absolutely expensive. If you own a printer, you will know that ink is absolutely ridiculous. You know, it's like $30, $40, $60 sometimes for ink. And I mean, bro, like that's something that you actually need for the printer to work. So this business model works because essentially the usefulness of your product is based off of that disposable you have to keep on buying. So it's a good business model. All right, so that'll be all the business models that we'll go through today. You know, if you liked this video, let me know. If you didn't, let me know. Give me some feedback on how things are coming out for you. If this helps you out, you know, great, let me know. Otherwise, like always, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.